Welcome to Bar Talk. I am your host, Brandon T. This is a place where we talk about culture, you know what I'm saying? Everything that's happening out in the wild. And with that being said, like, subscribe everywhere that you see me and comment on the show's proceedings. So, looking at the statistics on our particular topic, and it's definitely something we need to talk about. And there's single mothers and single fathers out here in the dating pool. Yep. Now, let me throw some statistics on you. It may make you look at things a little different. First statistic is let's break it down by single mothers by race. I think there's a lot of misnomers when it comes to this, and I was shocked myself and so forth. And and so what we have here, let's start with the percentage of white single mothers is 40% out here in the dating pool. 40%. It's a high number. Then black single mothers are 30%. I know some people thought those numbers be switched. And then single Hispanic women out here in dating pool are 24%. And trailing way back in the distant past is Asian women at 3%. Yes. And so let's let that, you know what I'm saying, sizzle a little bit. That there's more white women in the dating pool, single mothers in the dating pool. All right, bet. Then let's look at, you know what I'm saying. Let's do a comparison. You know what I'm saying. So we just say just single mothers, single fathers out here too in the dating pool, and so we're gonna make this comparison, right? So let's look at it here. Let's start. You know what I'm saying, in the 30s. Yeah, 30s, from 30 to 39. You know what I'm saying. Single fathers out here are 34% of the single parents and fathers in the 30s, and 39% are women in that 30 age bracket. So in your 30s, there's more single mothers than single fathers, and so forth. 5% delta there. And then let's go into your 40s, from 40 to 49, the whole 40s. And then, like I said, the single fathers are 32% to 30%. And so if you're in that 40 bracket, it's more likely to run past a single father than a single mother. But I mean, it's just only 2% delta, so you might as well you might as well say that's a wash, and you have the same number. But then going into your 50s plus, yeah, you got 15% of the men 50 plus that have children versus, you know, some children they're still parenting, and versus 8% of of women and so forth. And so that's the raw numbers out there. Now let's get into it a little deeper. So now with all the raw numbers in there, so there's a decent amount of people with children in the dating pool. So you will see you around past more likely you'll see somebody that has children than not, and so forth. But like I said, these are 30% So there's another 60 some percent that's not. So I keep that in mind also. The 60 some percent. But okay, so now going forward, you know what I'm saying? Now the question you gotta ask yourself, the number one question, actually the first no, not number one. First and second question is this. You know what I'm saying? For a single mother or a single father, they didn't make these children by themselves. So now you gotta look at the co-parenting person. What does that scenario look like? You know what I'm saying? If that's a toxic situation where, you know what I'm saying, they are, you know what I'm saying, have an issue with the other person moving on with their life and so forth, and try to use the kid against the other person. You know what I'm saying? That's a very toxic situation, and that's something to definitely stay away from, regardless of man, women, so forth. You stay away from that situation. And then also another thing is you gotta think about accountability of the child. How's the child in this situation? Child well behaved, child respectful. You know what I'm saying? Are they having behavior issues with the child? 'Cause those things can also be a problem for you trying to date that person that has a child with behavior issues. And so those two things is toxic co-parenting and, like I said, say toxic parenting styles and so forth. Gotta look at that very, very closely to determine whether you want to date a person with a child. You know what I'm saying? If those things aren't proper, stay away. And then two, once you go past that, then you gotta also then start to look into what you want. You. So say that you are a female and or male. Let's say that y'all. Let's say we in the 30, we in the 30 bracket, where in the 30 bracket is more percentage of children. You know what I'm saying? More women have had children than men. You know what I'm saying? Remember that 5% delta there. And then two, as a man messing with a woman that has children already, then the question is, does she want? If you want more children, does she want more children? And so forth. And in that age bracket, you know what I'm saying, that probably be something that could be done. Just if you're dating that 30 bracket, you know what I'm saying, you haven't really got into the point where you're taking a bunch of measures to not to have a child, you know what I'm saying? So you got to look at what do you want out of that. Now, when you go into your 40s, now you started to measures are being in place and so forth. Like I said, she could add her tubes tied and so forth, or you could have a vasectomy, whatever, and so forth. Because like I said, you feel like you went from your 20s to 30s, you had, you know what I'm saying, children with the other people, and then that didn't work. Now you're back in the pool and so forth. Now it determines the question of what do you want then. So if you have with the person that's already taken measures to not want children and so forth, or a person just doesn't want it at all, what do you do? Do you in turn hold out till they change their mind, or oopsie happens and you're like, yeah, I got my way? Or do you leave? And do you just find somebody that's on your level that wants the same thing out of your life? I'm going to say this. Regardless of how cool or good that person seems to be, you should in turn do what you do the happy part. If you want children, go find somebody that you can have children with, and so forth. Y'all, you know, what I'm saying that because like I said, you don't want to end up with that type of regret and so forth. So yeah, so that's a question that you need to figure out right up front. Is if you're in, like I said, if you're especially in that 40 bracket and you want a child and so forth, and they've taken measures or don't want children, what do you do then? And so definitely something that, you know what I'm saying, needs to be resolved quickly. And before you get too tied into the situation, then you're like, well, 6 to 8 months down the line or a year, like, you know, I want a child before this date, and the person is like, nah, I don't want any children, and so forth. And now you have quote unquote wasted time and so forth. So you don't want to have that particular situation happen. Yep. And so mine, like I said, I'm gonna say this. My opinion on dating people with children and so forth, you should do it. You know what I'm saying? Because of people's past experiences and so forth. You know what I'm saying? And they made children, don't disqualify them from being a good catch to you. Even though they might not have worked out with the people beforehand, but being for you, you know what I'm saying, go for it. But now I said, but you also before you get too far into those questions that we proposed earlier, that those need to be answered. Toxicness, how the child is, you know what I'm saying, what you I said, what do you want as far as your life expected, life plans and so forth for your family and so forth. And one last thing that, you know what I'm saying, I need to add. Now, I almost forgot it. And this is important. This is very important. Where you live at today is where you want to live at tomorrow. What I mean by that is, if there's opportunity for career advancement in a different city, a different state, a different area, and so forth, and you're dating a person with a child, and so forth. And then normally that the child is born with the mother and father. So if you are dating a single woman, you're dating a man with a child, and you have a great opportunity for career advancement and so forth in a state 2 states away, and that person, you know what I'm saying, can transferable down there with you. What do you do? Y'all think about that, and then vice versa. If you if you're a man with a woman and she's got the child with y'all, and then you have an opportunity a state or two away, what do you do? Do you in turn unhook? You know what I'm saying? There's another parent there, and how does that all things settle. I know some people like, well, I just me and her, or me and him, and so forth, and y'all try to make that decision between y'all two without looking at the outside factors and so forth. So, like I said, that's all things that have to be taken count of a person dating a person with children. And with this said, this has been Bar Talk. I'm saying like, subscribe, and we talk to you later. Peace.